Good morning. So, I'd like to talk a little bit about how thought is immediately translated into emotion. So, for every thought, we're going through the world, we're going through our lives, and we are constantly being stimulated. And every single thought that we have is immediately interpreted into emotion. So, we have this instantaneous thought and emotion. And it is so important for us to synchronize between our thought and emotion and between our belief system or perspective. Belief system, perspective, it's this about the same thing. The filter from which we are perceiving the world through. So every time we come into a situation, and we are even we're these processes mostly are done on automatic mode. We don't even know that we are doing these processes. So we come into a situation, come some kind of stimulation within our lives, and it doesn't have to always be, it's constant. It's in every minute. It is in every second of our life that we are that we are awake. We're coming through some kind of stimulation, even when we are by ourselves. So let's say if I have a a sink full of dishes and I see it, that is external stimulation, and it makes me feel a certain way. So I have attached emotion already to that scenario, which is basically on automatic mode from when I was a child, right? So the way that I am looking at it is already written in my belief system. And because I put this into my belief system as a child, when we already believe something, a lot of times it is, we don't bring it back out for reevaluation, right? As a child, my job in the house was to do dishes, and I didn't like it. And that is something that was stuck into my belief system that doing dishes is not fun. And so when I see a pile of dishes in the sink, my automatic is, oh, I just did dishes. How are there that many dishes? It's without even thinking, there is an attached emotion to it. And we are like this with everything in our lives. Um, we have an attached emotion that is based on our perspective, and it doesn't always mean that it is accurate. It's accurate for us based on our history. um, so what happens is when we put something into our belief system as children, before we even have the capability of evaluation, before we even have the capability of judgment, before we have life experience on which to base these beliefs. A lot of these beliefs our parents give us, our grandparents give us, society gives us, and tell us this is the way. And when we're children, we believe because our parents, society, the teachers, we ourselves are like empty pallets. We don't have all that life experience on what to base our beliefs on. So we adopt others' beliefs on automatic because they're big. They know. I feel small. I don't know. I was just came out of the womb and I'm abandoned. I'm an empty slate. And so we have to fill our belief system with something. So whatever people tell us, or if we go through a certain situation that we perceive in a certain way, it builds our belief system. And then we are going through life based on belief systems and perspectives that were put there typically before the age of 6. Typically from when we were tiny children, when we go to touch something, I say, don't touch that. Why? Because. And then we quit asking why. We quit asking the question. See, when you evaluate something, you put it into your belief system, you'll notice within yourself that, first of all, it builds your perspective and it builds the way that you interact with the world. Um, but also, we don't bring that back out to reevaluate it. And that's what we're doing during this spiritual awakening. Everything is breaking down. All of the old systems and the old beliefs are breaking down because they're not working for us anymore. We've gotten to a place where we built our life, and it's not working for us. What's going on? And then it starts crumbling, and then we are left to all of our beliefs are come up to the surface. We have to deal with whatever we haven't dealt with until now. We rebuild our belief system, and when it starts crumbling, because everything is connected to everything else, when one thing crumbles, it has like shoots that go out into all of these other different, when we are living in a scarcity, let's say. It's easy for me because it's something that I'm working with. When we are living in a scarcity mindset, and most of humanity is, it doesn't only pertain, is that a word? Pertain? To, it doesn't only, it's not only relevant to making money. When I'm living with scarcity mindset, it is scarcity within my relationships, within everything that comes into contact with me. Everything um, I am is in relationship to this, right? Everything that I am doing is coming from that perspective of lack. It is an energy. It isn't. It doesn't especially pertain to only one area of my life. Scarcity mindset is an energetic template that goes through me, right? So this is why it's so important, the work that we're doing. We are evaluating life. We are re-evaluating our place in the world. We are re-evaluating the laws of which a life abide by. And it is so important that we are able to, first of all, perceive what we are doing, even become aware, waking up in each moment, and every evaluation, checking, okay, why am I feeling this? Follow your emotion. If something is making you feel in a certain way, follow that emotion all the way back to the first time that you ever felt that. Follow that emotion back to the mindset, the belief that that emotion is coming forth from. And when you're able to align your emotion, your vibration, and your thought, and they come, and your beliefs, and they all come into sync, then you can truly trust your emotions to guide you through life. Because if your emotions are giving you a false negative or a false positive, let's say if false positives are the same as false negatives, right? Because a lot of times we will go after the immediate gratifications, even though the immediate gratification is not in our best long-term interest, right? So this could be by way of taking outs or behaviors, when we have, it could be by alcohol or by different ways that we have of coping mechanisms, which give us an immediate relief, but it's not fixing it's putting like another Band-Aid. It's putting another Band-Aid, or right now I just want to feel good, so I'm not going to deal with that. And then we are prolonging the spiritual work that we are doing, right? Because once we get all of those things aligned within us, we are aligned to the divine, and we come into that state of, you could see it as, we are a clean slate. Like you could see like a baby that is born that has no filters from which a baby perceives the world through, right? It's an empty slate. So when a baby comes into the world, they're wide open, and we are still that at our base. We have this wide openness. We can perceive everything, and we don't have to react to it or put judgment on it. And with that, we become pure consciousness. So you can imagine that when we have a thought, it goes into this pure, clean slate, like a container, right? Until we put judgment on it. All of the judgment and the emotion and the thought all sits within the ego. So when we perceive something, we think about it a certain way. We have an attached emotion that comes up based on our belief system, whatever is in our belief system, which a lot of times we don't even realize what is in our belief system. That is the work, finding what is triggering me, what makes me work. And that is, all of that is work within the ego, because the ego has put these beliefs within it, all of these structures not only perception, it perceives, but then it reacts in a specific way, and it creates these reactions from when we're children. It could be anger, it could be victim mode, some kind of reaction which deters us from having to deal with emotions that go too deep, right? But if we get to the bottom of those emotions, all the way to the bottom, we can dissolve them and align them back to truth, right? Because everything that we get stuck on in the physical world, everything that we get stuck on is within the ego. The ego gets stuck on things and won't allow you to go through them because of its own fear of the emotion, that it might be too intense of emotion that they may feel. It might be a feeling of, well, I don't know what to do in that situation, or like a feeling of loss, or a feeling of it's too wide open, I can't deal with it. So then the ego immediately creates a reaction to whatever the stimulation is. And once you create a reaction to it, that means when you are first in receiving mode, and once you create a reaction, you stop the receiving mode. So however more you can perceive and be in receiving mode, the deeper it goes, the more mature the thought or the stimulation becomes, the more mature you become within yourself, the more that you can conceive, the more that you can contain. Right? So have you ever met people that you speak with them a few words and it comes up against their belief system, and they have this immediate reaction of either yelling or some kind of something to stop whatever it is that is coming through, whatever it is that is threatening their belief system, or threatening to their emotional body. They can't feel the emotions anymore, or the idea is too vast, or they feel too wide open. Like when a baby comes out of the womb and all of a sudden you see the baby, you put the baby down and the baby feels like it's lost it for the first few months. A lot of times when you put a baby down, it feels insecure because the world is too wide open all of a sudden. They're used to the confinement of being held within the womb. And you can see us in the exact same way. So it's very, very important for us to align our emotions with our thoughts, and doing it in a way that is systematic, and not only systematic, but intentional, pure intention. Because until our belief system is so strong and we did it within ourselves and we understand it, and everything that is in there we put in there, then we become strong beings. Because until that point, anytime we meet somebody outside of us, let's say that is out of alignment with what they're saying and what they're feeling is out of alignment, it will make us out of alignment. We'll be questioning our own selves. We'll be, because we can sense emotion. It is especially if we wear cotton and clothes that are made of natural material, then we have more perception, because our body is like a beacon. It's a two-way. It perceives, but it also emits. I think that's the word. But it can also perceive and collect data, vibrational data. And emotion is a vibration. And speech is also vibration. A lot of times, most time, people that are out of alignment, almost everybody, are out of alignment between what they say and what they feel. And there is no blame in this, because they don't even realize what they're doing. Because the work that I'm speaking about here with the alignment, there are very, very, very few enlightened beings that have managed to create this alignment within themselves. It's that marriage between thought and emotion. It's coming into a complete alignment between thought, emotion, action, belief. All of those things have to come into perfect alignment. And when those things come into perfect alignment with you, when you meet others that are out of alignment, it doesn't threaten you. It doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. You are able to contain anybody. You're able to, not only are you able to contain anybody, you are also able to heal anybody, because immediately when you are in alignment, you can immediately perceive somebody who is not in alignment. Somebody who speaks something and are feeling something different, you can feel their emotion and you also hear their words, and those things aren't aligning. You can actually see. And when you get to this level of consciousness, there is no judgment in it. There is only compassion in it, because you realize that we are all just children. We are all just children and doing the best that we can. And we ourselves have overcome out of being out of alignment. And we know the pain in that. We know the pain also in being sleepwalking, in being unconscious, awake in this world, unconscious. We are going towards being completely awake and aware, but we know that when we are asleep during this lifetime, there is immense pain in that we didn't even know that we were in pain until we began to wake up. And then we realized the agony that we were in before the awakening. Then we have the agony of going through the awakening and all of that. But that is a feeling of fulfillment when you can, as we go through this, I know that we don't always feel that wow, the privilege of it, the enormity of it, the divine grace of it, the just gratitude and feeling of just pure love and joy to even have the privilege of it, the privilege of being able to wake up in this lifetime. And especially during these times, look what's going on around the world. This is amazing. Everything is changing all over the world. We live in a time of connectivity. We can connect with people that we never had access to connect. We see that everybody are just humans and going through this. There's so many different ways of being. When we're raised, and this is the way of being. You have to be this way. And then all of a sudden, the vastness of the universe opens up to you, and you see that there isn't one single way to be. This is something that I also learned as a child, because we moved around a lot. Every year we moved somewhere, but we moved distances, even between continents. And every place that we went, the people were different. I lived in Arkansas, South, in the southern. I lived in California. I lived in Montana. I lived in Oregon. I lived in Chicago. I lived in Israel in different places, in the South, in Jerusalem, and now in the North. And I've moved a lot throughout my life and have seen that there are so many different ways of being. Every place, even within the states, from one place to another, the society structure is so different, and the mentality is so different, and what is important and what, the lifestyle is so different that you can see. I feel like I was very blessed with that, because at a young age, I became very fluid, very flexible. You see that, wait, what goes here is very different from here. And you see that there isn't one way of being. And then you become flexible. You understand that there is no absolute. Everything is relevant. Everything is relevant to yourself, to the outside. Everything is relevant. And then you see that there is a much, much larger picture than the individual. So this, if you to become a complete, mature, actualized human being in this world, it is detrimental. And especially if we want to go through life without feeling without things moving us from place to place, without being thrown off our path or always questioning ourselves, we have to do that internal work of alignment between our thought, emotion, belief, and then you are aligned with the universe. And then you have the answers. You're connected to a higher intelligence. You have you become a divine intelligence that you are of. The universe, the world starts becoming like an open book to you. You become that empty palette, but with life experience and with the capability of seeing and perceiving and thinking and feeling. But at the same time, you are completely present and aware and capable of instantly perceiving, right? Because typically we go through the world, we get stimulation, then we go into ourselves, into this hibernation mode. Hibernation awake. We're awake, but we are in our mind. We are not present in the moment. And when you become present in the moment, it means that you're capable of continuously interacting with the world. You're continuously receiving, right? Because think about it, when you come into an interaction and something hits you and it gets stuck in the ego, in that emotion thought process, you get stuck in it. You get stuck inside the mind, inside the emotion. You get stuck. You're not open to perceiving more, and so it stops your expansion. But when you come into the consistent, constant, immediate, consistent, constant, perpetual now, inside of constant perceiving and interaction, perceiving interaction, your life becomes fluid. Your mind is fluid. You are capable of bringing into yourself everything that is. There is nothing that deters you. There is nothing that threatens you. And then you become curious and outside in life, perceiving and present, completely present in the now. And living in the now is living, in order to live in the now, you have to do this work. Otherwise, you are constantly thrown back into your ego into doing the work, right? So in order to these things are dependent on one another. It's kind of paradox. They're dependent on one another. So when you come into the continuous and constant now, you become present, you come into heaven on earth. And this meditation will help with, because meditation grounds you every morning. Meditation. This is what a practical thing that you can do to bring yourself into the now and to align yourself. And I am going to meditate now. So thank you for watching. Sending you guys so much love.